Welcome back to Learning Things with Mariella and Heidi. Basically how this works is one of us researches and learns about a topic and then we basically teach it to the other one blind. So I researched something today and Heidi has no idea what it's going to be. So how do you feel about that?
Excited to learn!
Woo! Okay, we're basically super bored because we're in quarantine and we don't have any online classes because we graduated, so we felt jealous, so we created our own online classes for each other.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah. Mine is the Eastern music industry versus the Western music industry.
Interesting.
And their differences. Eastern music industry and Western music industry are super different in the way they handle like literally everything. So I'm going to focus more on K-pop and Korea and English and American music for Western because those are the ones I know stuff about.
Mm-hmm.
So for K-pop, I've been listening to K-pop since I was in high school, so like 5 years. So I feel like just I've accumulated a lot of knowledge. And for the English music industry, I have 2 parents in the English music industry, plus I've been on some music video sets as well, because Heidi and I both work in the film industry, so that sort of overlaps a bit. You do just like pick up stuff as well. So like through this, I've always noticed there's like some major differences on how things are handled, right? Right?
Yeah, sure.
So what are your first impressions?
Well, it sounds like a very broad subject.
Yeah,
so I'm intrigued as to how you're gonna tackle it.
Okay, well, I don't really make such a clear plan as you.
That's fine.
But I think I have so much that won't actually fit into just this a video. So what I'm going to focus on today is ways that I think the Western music industry could improve by looking at the Eastern music industry. First thing we're going to discuss is that in K-pop, they give you a release schedule, and every day leading up to the comeback, which is what they call when a music act comes back, literally, but for some reason we don't use that word really in England at all. So they will release a release schedule which says like teaser image 1, 2, 3, like one each day, and then like a snippet from the song, and then like a snippet of the music video, and then the music video. Whereas in Western culture, they just drop the music video, they're like, boom, here's a music video. Like, do you remember, I think it was Beyonce like 2 years ago, just like dropped Lemonade out of nowhere?
I think something that we should clarify quickly is that I'm not really up to date with anything.
Literally anything.
So you might reference stuff and I might be like, uh-huh, and I'm just nodding along.
Yeah, so, but it's true, like Beyonce released Lemonade overnight as like a drop. Whereas they would never do that in K-pop. What they say is, they'll say like, oh, in April we're gonna have a comeback, and everyone's like, yay, preparing for April. And then they'll say like, on April 10th, we're gonna have the comeback on April 20th, and every single day, here's something to get you excited for the 20th. You can see that it says like, day 1 you get track list, then you get the music video teaser, picture 1, 2, 3, 4, music video. Well, they had a music video of not the title song, which was an amazing music video as well. And then the actual music video, teaser, album preview, comeback. And that's like really odd, because nobody in Western culture does that. If they'll say like, either they'll just drop the album, or they'll be like, it's coming out this date. And then there's like nothing else. And even then also, a lot of the time in Western, the music industry, they'll drop an album, but then the music video won't come out until like 2 weeks later. And that to me is like stupid, because I'm like, all the hype's gone by then.
Yeah.
Like, for example, 5 Seconds of Summer released their album like 2-3 weeks ago. Again, an amazing album. But their like new single off the album, Wildflower, the music video hasn't even dropped yet.
Oh really?
Yeah, and I'm like waiting for it, but I just feel like it's so odd. Because I'm so used to now how K-pop works that I'm like, where's the music video? It's not there. It's not here yet.
I think something that I've noticed over here is that, an album will drop and they don't necessarily like batch record stuff beforehand. Like they'll just like go along filming throughout the year. They might have a couple things ready for when something drops.
Whereas K-pop's like everything's ready and then they'll just post the relevant picture on the day. Whereas K-pop's like, yeah, the album came out last week. Maybe we should start thinking about some album artwork or like...
Yeah.
So again, I think that's something that the Western music industry could maybe replicate to create more hype, is release more like stills or like snippets on the lead up to get people more excited. Because often like an album drops and I'm like, oh yeah, I'll listen to it. Whereas in K-pop, I'm like waiting for it because for the past 10 days, I've been like, wow, that like teaser image was amazing. Like I can't wait to see what the vibe of the album is. It just creates more, like much more interest.
I see what you mean. More hype.
More hype. Hype! The second thing that I think K-pop does really well, that the Western music industry really needs to pick up on, for the sake of survival honestly, is collectible copies of albums. So, in K-pop, when a group, say, releases an album, they'll release multiple versions of the album so that fans want to buy every single version to complete the set.
So like different album art and stuff like that.
Yes, and as well as that, when you get the album, you get like merch as well. So you'll get a poster, a full photo book, a photo card, sometimes like a banner, and all this different stuff. So if you go to the first one I sent you, which is Monster X, the Connect, so you see how it looks like one album.
Yeah.
That's 4 different albums, that's the 4 different versions lined up together to create the full album artwork.
Wow.
So fans, you can see why fans want all 4, because they make it feel like not incomplete, but like it's like a reward or a prize to get all of them. The thing about K-pop that's really interesting, is their physical sales are not struggling. They're not struggling. K-pop physical sales are as good as they always were. But in the Western music industry, physical sales have literally plummeted. And trust me, I know, because my mum tells me all the time, like, nobody's buying physical, nobody's buying physical. It's all over the internet now. And the thing about K-pop CDs is, here's the kicker, fans don't buy them to play them. They buy them to have them.
Very hoarder mentality.
Yes, but it's the like collectible mentality that the K-pop industry fosters, which means they're thriving, whereas over here artists are struggling still to get people to buy their CDs. And like for example, 5 Seconds of Summer on their new album have one of their songs that's not available on streaming at all. It's physical only, to try and get fans to buy the physical copy.
Yeah.
But like, of course it's on YouTube, so that's just what I did. Like, you know what I mean? But like, they're trying to think of...
You cheater.
I know, but like, what can you do? You know, you've got to listen to all the songs. So, I just think it's a really good way of encouraging fans to buy physical, is to have different versions. This is Red Velvet's album Rookie, where they released an album for each member.
Oh, okay, wow.
So again, that collectible aspect of you want each member's album, but if you can only afford one, of course you'd get your favourite member.
Yeah.
And I just think it's like ingenious, because they, you know, all those photos were taken anyway, so why not just print 5 copies? Yeah, it costs a bit more, but you know what will earn you a lot more money is fans buying all 5. Genius.
Yeah.
The more copies of albums you buy, the higher chance there is for you to win a fan sign, which is basically when you get to like meet them and they'll like sign something for you. And fans have been known to buy like literally hundreds of copies to get like, to try and get the golden ticket of going to a fan sign.
Oh, so it's just like something hidden inside a CD?
It's like a code. To be honest, I don't really know how it works, because obviously it's not for international fans, it's only for K fans. But I know that that's the reason why people buy sometimes. Like I've seen people, like really rich BTS fans, like show their collection, and it's just like a whole room, because they wanted to have like lots of tickets to go to the fan sign.
Wow.
To like meet their idol. So insane! Mate, there's so much money in K-pop, like I literally can't even fathom it.
Wow.
But like, you know, I get it. Like, you know, I want to meet the people I'm fans of. But I don't know whether I'd buy like 100 albums to get there.
That would cost a lot of money.
Yeah.
Also, K-pop albums aren't cheap. Like,
Oh, really?
I think obviously, again, I don't know how much they cost in Korea, but for me over here, to buy an album costs like 20-30 quid. That's the reason I don't have any and I just stream everything. It's like 2 or 3 times more expensive than like a regular album. But then again, you get a lot more stuff. You see how much stuff you get in this album. So it's a bit blurry, but you see that's how many different copies of albums there are. And then it says you get a photo card and you get poster A, B or C. Skip that one, go on to the Dreamcatcher one, which is next for their album prequel. It shows you these are the 2 versions, before version and after version. That's what the album looks like, that's what the CD looks like. So they're saying you get all of those photo cards and a poster, but it's like, it tells you which one they are, but sometimes they're random. So again, sometimes fans will buy like 10 copies of the album because they really want one specific photo card or one specific
Okay.
poster. So again, it's like they were already doing those photo shoots, so it doesn't cost the company like that much more, but it makes fans like want to buy a lot more copies.
Interesting. Cool.
What's interesting about this is the Western music industry has slowly picked up on it, and industry leader, of course, Taylor Swift, what did she do with her latest album? We're out 4 versions, each with a different colour, that have different materials in them. So of course, she was selling the bundle for like, I don't know, lots of money, and people were buying it like, I wanted it, but like, I just got the regular small CD in the end. They basically, on her versions of the album though, they each have different pages of her diaries in. But again, I think she could have pushed this further and had like a different cover for each one, rather than just being like blue version, purple version, green version, because then it's like, it's more collectible. Because I was thinking like, I want all 4, and then I was like, well, they all look the same. Whereas I really think if she did the step further, and like, even if she just changed the color scheme, because she has an album, her Speak Now album, she has 2 versions of it where her dress is 2 different colors. That's like peak K-pop. Just do that, just like change the colors a bit. New version. People, like, that's literally what I showed you on the Dreamcatcher one. It's the same art, they just changed the purple. And like, I want it. Like, I want 2 versions.
Especially because they're like your colours.
I love these colours, they're so good. And I think honestly that's the direction the Western music industry is going. You know, in English and American music, they're going to be going towards how can we get fans to buy physical copies. It's by including merch, it's by having different versions.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Anything else to say?
I find it quite interesting that, you know, companies in Korea have
Found different ways of
making money.
yeah, basically.
Plus also, like, I'm sure it creates a great community for people.
Because also people like trade, like fans will be like, I have the Kion photo card, I want the Changkyun photo card, and then they'll like trade.
Oh, like Pokemon cards.
Yeah, like Pokemon cards. But which I think is really cute as well.
I think that's really cute. I feel like, well, I wanted to ask, do you know if they sell records? Because I feel like over here records have become really big again.
See, I have not seen, that is the one thing, I've not seen that anywhere yet. I've not seen any of the big artists do it. Shawn Mendes came out with a little cassette.
Oh really?
Yeah, like you can literally buy his album, I forget what it's called now, in cassette. And I was like, that's one thing that K-pop hasn't done, is it hasn't gone back that far. They're sort of stuck with CDs. But again, like I say, nobody, like, I bet you virtually like 2% of like K-pop fans listen to their CDs on the CD. I guess unless Cars is the only thing.
Well, that's the thing, like, I've got loads of CDs now and I'm buying CDs. To be fair, mostly second-hand, but like you got me CDs for my birthday, and I have a car that doesn't, because my car doesn't have anything else but a CD player and radio.
Yeah. With the exception of Cars, I think most people listen on, you know, their streaming site of choice. Also interesting, Korea has its own streaming platform, which isn't Spotify or Apple Music or Google Play Music or anything. Yeah, it's called Melon. So I think there's a couple, but I think Melon's the top one. So again, that's why the streaming of K-pop isn't big on like Spotify as it should be compared to how many people are actually listening to it. It's because they have their own service.
Yeah. Interesting.
Yeah.
Quite fascinating. Huh.
Okay.
In K-pop, they focus more on the visuals rather than the music, but the visuals are really like pushed to the forefront. Whereas in Western music, it's much more about like the pure music sort of thing, to the point where like sometimes I see a cover of like a Western band's album and I'm like, what does this have to do with them?
Okay, interesting. You think that it's kind of just like sprung together?
Yeah, I just think that in Western music they like commission an artist and they're like, give me some art, and then maybe go through like 2 variations and that's it. Whereas in K-pop, everything is like very specifically curated to link into one another. So the music video will link to the album art, which will link to the teaser photos, which will link to the songs, which will link to, you know, the teasers, and it's all very much like linked to the outfits, to the onstage outfits, to like, it's much more like, here is a concept for a comeback, and everything like stays quite like strict within the concept. Whereas in Western music, it's like, here's an album, here's the album art we did, and we're gonna wear some random clothes on stage, which is like obviously fine, they're just different styles. But I just think it's, in K-pop they do very like, they're on a tight ship.
I see what you mean.
Yeah, like everything's very like, it's very cohesive, I think is what I'm trying to say. Whereas in Western music, I think stuff tends to be a bit more like all over the place, which is fine because you get to see the artist in like different styles and stuff. But what I really like about K-pop is, if you like the comeback concept, you're gonna like everything about it because it's like all part of the same thing.
Yeah.
Like plan.
It's all part of the same plan. Like it's all, you know, probably the same creative team that have come up with it, and they like stick to it quite religiously, which I really like. Oh My Girl's, I think it was second comeback called Closer, and with this very like white fairy tale look, and all of the teaser art, the music video, the stage outfits, the songs all have this very like ethereal white fairy tale vibe to all of them. Oh My God in general are really good at like having a concept and sticking to it, which is, I really think like plays to their strengths. Whereas like, I can't even think of one right now. Who's an artist that's just had a comeback?
That's a good question. Kylie Minogue.
Kylie Minogue! So she played Glastonbury to coincide with her new album coming back, but like there wasn't a lot of like cohesion. It was just like, oh, she's doing this, so she's doing this.
Yeah, exactly.
And again, like there's nothing wrong with that. It's just like a different style of how they put out music.
Is it, because I know here they kind of do it where you make the album so you can tour, and you tour so that you like promote the album, and then you get money to be able to make the next album.
See, that's a point I've got later on, but it's completely different in K-pop. It's completely different. So they don't make an album to tour, which you do in Western music. They have smaller, more frequent comebacks, and then they have like a world tour every like, I don't know, depends how popular they are. It's less like you do this, then you do this, you do this, then you do this, whereas like pretty much every artist in Western music that I follow the same pattern, which is album every 2 years, tour in between, write new album, come out with album, tour, write new album, come out with new album. And it's always like a 2-year cycle. Like if you look at all of, you know, Fall Out Boy, Taylor Swift, all those sort of people, and they're completely different ends of the spectrum. It's pretty much every 2 years they do it, because that's just how long it takes. Whereas in K-pop, again, it depends how popular the group is, but they can be coming back 4 times a year, like every 3 months.
Wow.
Yeah,
That's a lot.
it's like not that
Uncommon. Because also, here's another difference, and I just want to stress, before anyone comes to me, this is not all the case. Of course there are Western music artists that don't write their own stuff, and of course there are tons of K-pop music artists that do write their own stuff, but generally, K-pop idols do not write their own music.
Okay.
So it makes the process quicker, because they can be off performing and doing variety shows and stuff, and the music can still be being written. Whereas, for example, Taylor Swift, who writes pretty much all our own stuff, has to be there for the whole time.
Yeah.
Whereas a lot of K-pop idols would come in, like write their own rap and then leave. Whereas of course she is there doing Taylor's there doing everything. Just want to stress again, it's not the case. I know there are loads of artists these days, because it's got a lot more popular also in Korea to write your own stuff. Like G Idol, oh god, how do I pronounce their name? I think it's just Idol. They write like pretty much all their own stuff. And they're like a normal K-pop dancey group. But in K-pop, the visuals are much more important, and because of that, the music videos are a much higher budget.
I have noticed that.
Yes, whereas in Western culture, you only get a big budget music video if you're already big. Like, you know, Ariana Grande, oh my god, I do not want to know how much money they spent on her music videos. Whereas I've been on set for, you know, artists that are like reasonably big, like, you know, they are technically famous, but the music video budgets are like pennies. And I always think like, if they were this big in Korea, they would be having so much
money spent on by their company.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, my thing just...
Did your camera die?
So where we got up to is, in Korea they have much bigger, higher budget music videos for everybody, not just the bigger artists, but companies put high budgets into rookie groups to try and help them gain traction, whereas that doesn't happen over here. Over here, if you're a small artist, you get like an apartment with a cinematographer and that's it.
Literally. We've both been on music videos, and that is the difference.
It literally is. The difference is staggering in small artists here and over there. Like I watch a small Korean idol group, and I'm like, oh my god, this is an amazing music video. Such high budget, production value through the roof. You know, they've got the jib, they've got the fucking steady cam, they've got it all going. And then in England they're like, here's my camera, you know.
Yeah, exactly.
So that's another difference. But again, I think not necessarily that's something that Western music needs to learn from K-pop. It's just one of those strange differences. In Korea, they have a lot of more interesting content for fans of idol groups. So they have a lot more like fun variety shows, and groups often have their own YouTube channel where they like put vlogs up, and just generally there's a lot more content. And also like V-Live, fans go live all the time. Whereas in England and America, often the interviews are like, sit down, what's your favorite pizza? And it's just like, it's boring, I don't want to watch that. Whereas in Korea it's like, let's play a fun game to show all of your personalities and how fun you all are. And it's just, I feel like a much closer connection to the K-idols I follow, because I feel like I know them better. Whereas like, you know, I can tell you about my favourite members of Monster X and why I love them, because you're able to see much more inside their brains and stuff, because you just have more content. You have more interesting content more of the time than in Western culture, where what you get is like Instagram posts, and then like they might go on Instagram Live like once.
It's very like curated and like presented to you.
Yeah, it's very much like a focus is to like fan service is what it's called. Like fan service is a real like point in Korea. You like fan service is part of the job, whereas fan service isn't really part of being an artist in Western culture. It's more just like if you like your fans then you can do it, whereas in Korea it's like part of the job.
Is it kind of like here when a YouTuber starts to become really famous, like as an artist YouTuber, because you kind of know them already, and then they've put themselves on the internet a bit more compared to like bigger stars?
Yeah, like for example, Conan Gray came from YouTube, so I feel like I know a lot more about him than I do, I don't know, I can't think of an equivalent artist, but because of that relationship he already had with people who watched him, you feel a closer connection with them than just, here's my album, hope you like it, you know?
Yeah.
So yeah, that's something else I think that Western companies should do. They should say to their I don't want to use the word idols in Western culture, but you know, their artists, like, you should put out more content, because then people feel closer to you.
Yeah, and it will create more of a like connection, and then people will want to buy more.
Exactly, like it's only human nature. If you like someone, you're gonna buy more stuff, you know?
Yeah.
Money is what I'm saying. We don't know when our next episodes will be. I guess we'll see when these are up and how well they do. But if you have any interesting things about, you know, things you want to learn about, or things you might think might be interesting, I know I have loads more points on this topic, so I can definitely do another one of these. Again, maybe on more things that K-pop could learn from Western the music industry, because there's loads of stuff that goes that way as well.
Yeah, and I'm just always curious about things. Literally anything. I can be staring at literally anything and my mind will wander.
That's true. Heidi's very ADHD, so we do get a lot of like tangents.
Uh-huh. Tangents.
Tangents.
Words are both of our forte.
They're really not. I don't know why we started this, honestly. It's like a terrible idea. Thanks for watching, I guess. Come back next time.
See you at some point.
Oh, one more thing. If you have anything you think I've missed with what Western music industry could learn from K-pop, let me know in the comments and I might add it to the next video, because I know there's like tons of stuff that I've missed. So give me some more ideas. Thank you.